there was a piece of work that I felt that KILT needed to focus on specifically. And rather than simply collaborate, is to contract these special skills NGOs and work together, with KILT really being the kind of driving force of monitoring it, bringing the specialized teams together, and then to implement a strategy of partnership, not just with the schools, but with other NGOs and specialists in the field. And so in 2018, with the systems lens, we decided that you need to start somewhere. If you think about an ecosystem, it's, if you change one thing and you do that routinely in a kind of structured way, you will have positive impact on the rest of the system. But I was also very, very sure that we were not the experts, but that we could coordinate efforts around the needs of the school, but also to look, as I say, through the cracks and get into the system of the school as equal partners. And then, of course, COVID happened. And during that time in 2020 was the first time I actually came upon this description of a locally driven network support system while I was, under lockdown, attending a seminar on trauma facing the planet. And I was curious about it because I had a look at it and I thought, this is pretty much what we do. And it's just a different lens, actually, in looking at systemic work, in being part of a system and its change and an open system, that we were really trying to be the catalyst, but not the experts. And so this model was already out there. Unless you were an expert in the field, people weren't talking about systemic change. But this kind of made sense to people because it's descriptive, it's local, it's driven by a top-around organization, not by a top-down organization, and it's really about being a catalyst. And of course, systemic change takes time, and it's a long game. And in partnership, if everyone buys into a vision and work together, you can shift things for the people inside that system for whom it really matters. And it then ideally becomes a self-sustaining system where you are really, through a human development process, more than a curriculum enabler, is to allow people to find their own agency, their own voice, and their own advocacy to shift their own system from within and become their own experts. Ultimately, what our goal is to make the schools of Knysna, the government schools of Knysna, schools of choice for parents to send their children to. I think one of the great advantages of an organization like KILT working in a locally driven network support system is that we have the ability to pivot and to be flexible. And that we have partners that could equally pivot and shift, as we did during COVID. And as we had to do in 2023 when the Western Cape Education Department introduced their Back on Track program. We got right behind the WCD with that program. And it was very much based on a model of getting back to basics. And in order for us to have pivoted and to be responsive rather than focused in a linear way on where KILT feels that we need to go, working in a system means that you need to be ready for change because it's open to things that come your way, unexpected things, possibly good things. And we consult with our schools on a regular basis, on an ongoing basis. We consult with the Western Cape Education Department. We look at best practice wherever that is happening that we're aware of, and we reach out and engage as much as we can. Principals are invited and generally attend with full attendance meetings with KILT management 3 times a year. I spend a lot of time visiting the schools, as do our project leads. We have focus groups with the principals and their teachers. We send out questionnaires. We ask them to evaluate us. That we ask them to give us feedback on what we could be doing better. So I think we are in a position to become responsive, because schools feel that by the time we make changes, they have been a part of the process. And I think that is about agency, that we are shifting a system together.